welcome to you. This is one of my talks inspired by the tarot. It is absolutely led by the tarot. I don't stage it. I don't pull out the cards around what I want to speak about. I literally pull out the cards and that tells me what to talk about. It is for everyone. It's not for a specific zodiac sign. Yes, I'm doing this but it's really valid whenever you come across it. Does it last only a month? Probably not, but I do them every month. But really it's more of a talk than certainly a long way from fortune telling. It's a talk that's inspired by the tarot. So when I look at this, I'm not sure. I can see positives and negatives. The overall energy is that of celebration. I think this is all to do with the massive changes that are going on, not only right now, but will continue for this, at least this decade. Massive changes. And how we are all adapting to them. I think these changes have left you feeling vulnerable, feeling that it's difficult to provide for your loved ones, feeling like you've got too many things to do, feeling like you're constantly being challenged, feeling like you're not doing a very good job when I suspect you are. Right now you're feeling charitable, which I'm sure is the right approach to things. Being charitable, not only in terms of finances, but in terms of your thoughts. Your thoughts towards yourself, your thoughts towards others. In the future, you're going to rush into something, maybe something that you shouldn't. And I think that's what this is about. This is a time of massive change. And you're still trying to control things a little. You see, you are embracing the change. You are embracing change. You're anxious for the change. You're anxious for something to happen. You're anxious to sort of control the change, even though you're open to something very different. You'd still like to know the nature of change so that you could at least have a go at controlling it. But that desire to control leads to more deception. More deception. Which is, I'm sure, is a test of you. So that you can grasp that you need to submit and not control. What would lead you out of this test is love. Now, it might simply be a love, a loved one. After all, we've got this celebration. But I think it's more global than that. It's love in general. If you can embrace love and be led by the heart, instead of he did this, they did that, what about what they're going to do next with the blah, 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 then you're going to come out of all this much, much better. Now, the overall theme of this reading is that of celebration. Celebration with family and friends. A lot that's been going on recently. A lot of what you might have felt were negative energies have been designed so that you can see clearly what's important to you. And what do you feel is important to you? Surely it is family and friends. Surely that's the thing that's most important to you, being with family and friends. The love of family and friends. And so what's been going on has been scraping away at your preoccupation with mortgage repayments, HP repayments, your job, the numerous wars and potential wars around the world, the pending collapse of currencies and banks, and what have you. We've even got they've invented, well, no, I mean it did exist, didn't it? But they've invented a new health crisis, haven't they? Sounds like a band from Manchester from the 1990s that I rather liked. I'm sure that's not what they mean. It's just going crazy, isn't it? So these things have been to clear all this away from you so that you really do say, well, what's important to me? What do I really want? And you've realised it's family and friends. In order to get us to understand what really matters to us, we've all been faced with a series of tests. In my case, my tests were quite pernicious, really. At one time, my entire life savings and my parents' life savings were trapped in a dystopian catch-22 in the country of my birth, with seemingly no way through it. And those responsible, far from recognising that this meant, well, it was a death sentence for people living in countries without social provisions, but they seemed to enjoy telling me. They seemed to gloat in passing the news to me. They even sent me off on complete time-wasting exercises as though they were enjoying their role in this whole thing. That somehow, I don't know if we want to call it profit maximisation, neoliberalism, processes, procedures. Maybe we can blame artificial intelligence, because surely humans don't lose their humanity just like that. But seemingly they had. So I've been, well, I mean, since it started in February, can you believe? February I've been trying to get answers. I must have aged 10 years. And you can't help but think that that's the idea, that I'll die before I ever get my money. You know, but I don't want to die until I know that my family are provided for. Till I have some sense of security, you know. So we have all been purposely worried. Worried to the extent that it's really affected our health, hasn't it? All of us. Throughout all of this, many of us have responded by doing the right thing, by being charitable towards others, even though there doesn't seem to be any charity there at all. I remember years ago when I was a successful business person, I used to devote 10% of my company's profits to local charities, and it didn't seem, well, you know, I thought I was doing some good. But when my business started to end, I could have done with some charity, and none existed. it would be easy to get bitter over it and say charity begins at home, but the problem wasn't too much charity, it was too little. And I think you also need to be like this in understanding those who seem to be gloating, seem to be enjoying your torment. Somehow you need to understand them. However difficult it is, you can perhaps understand the guards at Buchenwald carrying out their orders. But what you can't understand is them enjoying carrying out their orders and making life for their victims even worse. But some definitely did. And we all need to understand these things without crediting them in any way. Just understanding that there are some very disturbed people out there who need us to wrap our arms around them and say it's going to be all right, because they're more frightened than us. Now yes, this spread is all about you trying to understand others and being more charitable. It is about filling your heart full of love. It is about celebrating with family and friends. But it's also about you learning to give up attempting to control. Learning to put your hands and your faith, or put your faith in God, Allah, the universe, that He will provide for you. All these things that you've done, like my pensions, saved all my life, so that right now I wouldn't be going through exactly what I'm going through, this torment. That I wouldn't be going through this aggression at the age of 66. That I wouldn't have this uncertainty at the age of 66. It should be the exact opposite. Hand it over. Hand it over. You can't control the universe. You can't control everything. Hand it over. Because you're likely to rush into doing the wrong thing. This is the future, but you're likely to rush into the wrong things. So, submit a little bit more. Now, I know you're saying, what are you on about, Java? I am embracing change. I've changed so much. I'm ready for change. I'm anxious for change. But that very anxiousness itself is an attempt to control. You're open to new things, you're accepting of new things, but you do want them to happen. And you'd like to know when and how and what. And that itself is not submitting, is not fully putting your hands in putting yourself in the hands of God, Allah, the universe. And as a result of that, you're going to be tested once more, so that you learn this lesson of not trying to control, not only being accepting of change, but accepting of the strangest peculiarities of this change, such as my life savings and my parents' life savings being caught up in a dystopian catch-22. It wasn't about that, it was about how I reacted. And all these things are about how you react. Now, I've said it many times that if you follow your heart, fill your heart full of love and follow your heart, then things will surely be better for you, be easier for you. It'll change everything. It's the antidote to what we're looking at here. Can you do it? It's difficult, you know. I think this energy is telling you how, and that is, if you have loved ones, focus on them first of all. Focus on who you love, how much you love them. From then move to yourself, then to all of God's creation, and finally God himself. And you know, these betrayals, these tests that you get, they are to see if you can love even what you might consider to be your adversaries. Can you love them? Can you forgive them? Are you truly accepting of change? Because that's what these messages are all about. And as I say, because of your anxiety, there is a further test. There is a further test. And the test is a test of deception. And you're shouting, oh no, not more deception. Well, yes, there is more deception. Where does this deception come from? It's the universe shining a mirror up to us. The very fact that there is so much deception in the world, that it feels to me like a very callous attempt to defraud me out of my life savings by financial services institutions that should have been looking after my life savings. It also feels like a purposeful attempt to delay the payment of my pension so long that I die before I receive them. And maybe it's not me, you know, I'm not the victim. It's happening to everybody. But if 4% of people die before they get their pension, how much money would be saved? And that's what it feels like to me. But those thoughts are no good. Those thoughts are no good. We need to forgive, we need to forget, we need to love. We need to understand that even though these workers, like I say, like guards at Bucket Vault, seem to be enjoying what they're doing, enjoying tormenting their customers, we need to be understanding and forgiving, because that's what true submission means.